Sorry that I got to this late. I did hear the song when it was released, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like doing a review in that kind of moment, so I kind of wanted to do it when I kind of felt more, ready to do it. So I would have a bit more effort being put in instead of forcing myself. So yes, second single from Alter Bridge's new album. I really really like this band. I think they do great stuff. So I love hearing new stuff from Alter Bridge. It's always really exciting. The first track that they released, Wouldn't You Rather, I've reviewed that on the channel. So if you want to see my thoughts on that, you can watch one of the earlier videos. It will be there. But just brief rundown of what I thought of the first track that they've released for this new album. It was kind of typical Alter Bridge. There wasn't really anything new or exciting. Like, I'm not really hearing any kind of like growth or any experimentation coming out. It was basically like a hybrid of, I would say, Fortress as well as Blackbird. Probably definitely a lot more Fortress. And lyrically, they've come out saying it's going to be a brighter album compared to AB3, which was a negative album. So I guess lyrically, it's just like similar to AB3, but in an opposite way, if that makes sense. So yeah, it just kind of seemed like old Alter Bridge. There was nothing new, nothing exciting. The structure was basic. You got an intro, you got a verse, and then your chorus, and verse, chorus. And then you got a bridge, a solo, and then, chorus and the end. So basic structure, nothing, big and epic in scope or anything. The solo, it was good, but it was mostly just shred and no real, melody to it. I would have rather had a bit more melody in the solo. And it was a little short as well, so it just kind of seemed like there was a lot of, whittling and showmanship just kind of going on for a brief period of time. He changed it up, he didn't just repeat a certain pattern, but it just was a little dull, so it was a little disappointing. There's nothing new. So we've got a second track now, Pay No Mind. And the second the song starts, we are getting something different. The sound is odd. There's an effect, and as it keeps playing and progressing, you notice it's got this real kind of synth analog style of undertow to it, and it's even incorporated into the guitars. The guitars have this weird analog effect or something, synth thing put onto it, so there's really weird guitar effects as well as it being somewhere else, so it's this really weird sound, and the band hasn't really seemed like it's proper started. So when you can kind of notice both guitarists have actually jumped in and the whole band has actually started going, you get the full picture of sound. And yeah, it's definitely going for this kind of synth kind of sound. And when Alter Bridge came out discussing this album, they did say they're going to focus on that kind of aspect, kind of synths and stuff, which I thought would be incredibly interesting. And it is very unusual hearing Alter Bridge in this way. This basically taking the identity of Alter Bridge and then putting it into this completely different format. And yeah, it's really cool and it's kind of interesting, but again, there are faults. I do like this new style and hearing Alter Bridge in this new kind of light, but again, it's basically what I like about this song is basically the effect. And when that's all you have going for you, it basically means that the band hasn't actually done anything. It's just the effect. So what I mean by that is, again, this song is very simple. It's not, big and epic. It's not a Cry of Achilles. It's not, Addicted to Pain, Blackbird style. Even, simple ones like, I can't actually think of anything now. Isolation is a bit more simple, but musically there's a lot going on, and it's just interesting stuff with good intense riffs and leads through the song. But this is basically just standard stuff that you could hear in any kind of other band. There's no real intricate leads or kind of intricate melodies going on. There's no solo in this, so it's just you kind of build up, and then you get into the intro, and then you get your verse, your chorus, and verse, chorus, and a bridge section, and then chorus, and then it ends. There is a pre-chorus, so there is that, but it's not big, it's not epic. There's no leads, there's no interesting sounding musicianship going on. Vocally it sounds great, but that's Myles Kennedy, his vocals are great. And then the new tone and kind of effect that they've put into the song is incredibly interesting. But I've also kind of got a problem with that, if I'm being 100% honest with you. The guitars having this effect makes it sound very... how to explain it? It's it sounds phased, so it's not articulate. It really kind of sounds faded and just like smudged, the sound of it. So it's kind of like good quality production is basically like you paint a line and it's a perfect line and everything. But then with this effect and everything, it's like slightly going over it and then rubbing a little. So you basically get all this kind of wiggle on your perfectly fine line. So it's, it's basically going into the guitars and just messing the sound up. It's not a proper articulate. There's this weird kind of noise that is kind of distorting the sound, and it is basically the effect that they've put in. So this kind of synth, whatever effect they've got going, really fades the guitar out, and it's hard to really understand what exactly is going on. So I can't really pick up on what the guitar is proper sounding like, what it's actually doing, just because it's got this really phased sound to it, and it's all faded, and it's spread in a weird way, so it's not a big pungent sound. It's like this really thin sound that's being stretched or something, and I don't know, it just sounds odd. It's just this really stretched sound of the guitars, and it's not good because it's not articulate. I'm not really hearing properly what's going on. It's just this behind Myles. It's just this musically, it's just a little messy, which is really bad, seeing that Alter Bridge, this is the new album, this is what they wanted to play around with, and seeing that it sounds a little messy and a little complicated, and Myles, it's really weird because Myles has no effect. It's him and it's all clean, and then musically nothing sounds clean. Everything sounds messed with and played with, and it's badly affected. So I wouldn't have minded not putting it on the guitar, because you've seriously messed with the sound and tone of the guitars, and I would have just had keys and synths just as their own keys and synths, instead of trying to do keys and synths as well as put that sound into the guitar, which just really distorts all the sound, and it just makes it really sound weird. And then the lack of the solo, again, it's ridiculous. It's a thing I really hate about Tremonti Alter Bridge. The fact that you've got Tremonti, a well-known guitarist, really talented, and he always skips songs and doesn't do a solo, and it's just like, can you not think of one, or are you just too lazy? You have Myles Kennedy, who is also a really great guitarist. You could argue he's as good as Tremonti. And the thing with Myles is he does this kind of bluesy, jazzy style thing, which you don't hear in metal. At least not a lot. So it means that a solo from Myles is actually incredibly unique in style. and doesn't get done by that many metal guitarists. So it is really unique to him and something you don't really hear a lot. And you hear more Tremonti than Miles because Tremonti is the lead guitarist. Miles will only do it on occasion. But it just means that you got this real unique guitar player and he's not even being utilised and he's not putting himself out there at all. And when Tremonti's not doing a solo, clearly Miles isn't even bothering because he hasn't in this song. So, yeah, overall you've got a very basic song with basic structure. It's the basic formula. There is no solo, which is weird because you have two really, really good guitarists and it just comes across as really lazy and it just makes the song even more straightforward and formulaic, which is awful. The interesting thing about this song, which is really interesting, is the synth thing, which is obviously very, very different for Alter Bridge, so it was really weird seeing them in that new light, and I like it. But all that is basically an effect, so I can't really praise the band for doing something. It is just a sound effect. And again, the way they've done the effect is weird because, again, it's incorporated into the guitar, and I just think it really distorts the sound and it makes it very difficult to really articulate what is being played. So I'm constantly trying to listen, and then Miles is just so powerful and strong in the foreground, and then in the background musically everything just seems so mushy. So it's really hard to kind of hear him because it just sounds like Miles is completely by himself somewhere, and then there's just like something he's playing on his phone in the background, and that is actually the backing track, which is really, really weird. It's a weird tone they've got going. It's not, absolutely atrocious at all or anything, definitely not, but it's not perfect. I do think the quality could have been a lot better because the guitars are very... It's not tight, it's not good, it's a little messy. So, yeah, it's pretty bad because, again, no solo, basic formulaic song, and then the unique thing is very interesting and I like it and I want to hear more of it and where they take it in other kind of aspects and areas. But here it's badly kind of affected the guitars, and musically it's just very complicated to really hear what's actually going on because everything's so phased and just mixed all together and everything with this synth sound, and everything's just melds together. There's no articulation of what's what. It's just kind of messy. It's very hard to really understand what exactly is going on with the guitar playing. So, yeah, saying do I prefer it to Wouldn't You Rather, it's very difficult. Wouldn't You Rather, and it's just a typical Alter Bridge song. Like, sounds good because Miles has a good voice. Musically, they've got some good sounding riffs. They're good at making good sounding riffs and choruses. The solo was decent, but nothing too special. Pay No Mind is again a very simple song, but Miles has a good voice. I really like them trying to do something different, but I don't know if it's really worked. I'd have to wait and see on that. The chorus definitely has a really nice groove to it. I really like the flow of the chorus. It's quite catchy. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much to the song. It's typical Alter Bridge, but has a sound effect that is there by itself and also has interweaved with everything that the guitars are doing, which I think kind of distorts the sound. And I'm not really keen on it. I'm intrigued and interested about it, but I don't think it's really worked, especially not like that. So I don't know if the rest of the songs will be like that, or if it's just this one and they do it differently in other songs. I don't know, but so far I've had two songs that are incredibly basic, and the bland part of Alter Bridge, the very straightforward Alter Bridge, and one has a solo which is nah, and then the other one doesn't even have one. It's disappointing, which is hard to say because I really like this band. So I'm a little worried because I wasn't that keen on the previous album, and so far this one, it's just like I haven't really heard anything that's really that great. It's just, yeah, it's Alter Bridge, and I really like the band, so it's it's good because I really like them. So whatever they bring out, it'll probably be good for me, but I know it's not that great. So putting a score on this, it's gonna be like a 6. It's above average because of Miles. The unique thing is unique, but everything is so basic. So it's just an above average song. There's nothing special to it, really, at all. And that's so disappointing to say with a band that has so much talent. It just sounds like they're not really trying that hard. At least not at the moment. So that's it. I'm really looking forward to the next single just because I really want to hear something better by this band. So until that happens, and if it doesn't, then it'll be till October, I'm afraid. So fingers crossed, guys, eh? And I'll see you later.